This is Eat, Sleep, Invest, the marketing podcast for real estate investors to get more deals. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Eat, Sleep, and Invest. I'm your host, Brian Driscoll, and I'm here with Trevor Mauch. Hey, what's going on, Trevor?
Brian, dude, what's up, man? Thanks for bringing me back, buddy. I didn't get pushed off the platform yet, so hopefully people are getting some value here, man.
Sure. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, so anyone listening or watching, there are two other episodes that we recorded, so go check them out on YouTube. Number one is where Trevor tells us about how he got into the business, where Carrot got started, and then also number two is the hamster wheel, like how not to get burnt out, how to keep things going on an organic type of level there. So this episode, Trevor, I want to know, how do you keep this energy level going? How are you doing what you're doing?
Dude, so this is a topic I'm crazy passionate about, and I'm very excited to introduce this to you guys and gals. So if we were to go all the way back, I want you guys to, number one, go listen to that first episode that Brian's talking about, because that'll give you a lot of context for the struggles, the challenges that I've gone through that led to creating things like the energy audit and what we're doing today. So to bring you guys up to speed, if you didn't hear that last episode, the first episode, today I run one company. I do have other investment properties, but other people run that. I run one company today versus four companies, X amount of years ago. Today we're an 8-figure a year business. The last, let's say, 10 years of my life, we've done well over $40 million in sales in my businesses. We're doing pretty well, right? And so, but with that, the challenge that I had early in my business was I had companies that made some good money, but man, I was drained. I didn't want to wake up to do the work that I had created for myself. And I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this. You guys have the dream of being a wholesaler, or a flipper, or an entrepreneur of some sort. And it's really exciting at the start, right? Everything's new, everything's fresh, everything's very exciting. And so you get a lot of energy because you're starting. But a lot of us entrepreneurs are starters. We're the people who get the energy from the takeoff, but then as soon as we got to get into the maintenance side of things, we're like, and then we get distracted. We want to go start another company because that's where we get our fix. And then it's what I call a 2 to 3 year turn and burn cycle, where every 2 to 3 years we're getting distracted because the startup is over now, and now we're into actually growing a company. And then we then try to go innovate and get that energy back, and we innovate outside of our existing business instead of trying to innovate inside of our existing business. And this would have been back in 2012 when I came up with this concept called the energy audit. And I joined this program, Brian, called Strategic Coach. And a guy named Dan Sullivan has this program. It was amazing. I did it for a year, and I'd fly out every year or every quarter to Chicago and sit in there in this little hotel conference room, and we would go through their programs in there. And the one thing, Brian, that I was trying to get out of that program was my buddy Greg Clement, who from the outside in was like the perfect entrepreneur for me. He's like, man, he works three days a week. He goes in there and it seems like he only does what he wants to do in the businesses. He had a few businesses, we had people running them all. And he was able to go like day one, Monday was this business, and he'd go in there and do his creative stuff. Then day two was this other business. He'd go in there and do this creative stuff. He coached his kids' football teams. He had a lot of time off. I'm like, that is what I want. Because I had the opposite of that. I had to where the business owned me rather than me owning it. And I didn't have the flexibility. I couldn't go on those vacations. And I found myself at the end of the work week going, man, I got a lot of stuff done, but my energy's absolutely torpedoed. It's absolutely drained. Absolutely drained. And I sat there one morning, a strategic coach, and the concept that I was trying to get from strategic coach was this thing called unique ability. And I even bought the Dan Sullivan book called Unique Ability. I'm going, I need to figure out my unique ability, because when I do, they say everything's going to change. Everything's going to change when you do more of your work in your unique ability. And it was in session 3 where I was sitting there, and the gal, things finally unlocked for me, Brian. The gal said, you'll know when you found your unique ability. When you're done doing those things, you have more energy than when you started doing them. When you're done doing those things, you have more energy than when you started doing them. And that was like a life-changing moment for me, because I read the book, I heard the concept, but that one thing around energy, I'd never made the connection yet. Maybe it was said, but maybe I didn't make the connection. And I said, so if I can just base everything not on productivity, not on trying to be more efficient, not on money, if I can base everything on energy, maybe my life will get better. Maybe I'll enjoy my work more, and maybe more money will happen too. I don't know. But at that time, I'm like, I'm going to stop focusing on the money part of it and optimizing everything for money. Because the advice I'd got previous, Brian, was basically, hey, you know your unique ability or your unique genius or whatever's your genius zone. When people tell you you're great at it, and they'll pay you a lot of money to do it. And people were paying me a lot of money to do this thing, and they're telling me I was really good at this other stuff. And I'll tell you what that other stuff was here in a second. And I'm like, that must be it. So I need to keep doing it. But it kept driving me more and more and more down the energy drain path and me to represent my business. And so I went back home and I said, on that flight home, I took out a piece of paper and I drew a line down the piece of paper. I'm going to share my screen here in a bit, guys. We have a tool called the energy audit. We'll give you a link to it here in a second. But I drew a line down the piece of paper and I said, I put energy at the top on the left, and then it gives energy and drains energy. Okay. Left, right. I've done this exercise in previous years where it was makes money and doesn't make money, right? And I'm like, what are all the activities that make me money? And what are all the activities I'm currently doing that don't? And I'd have the list and I go, I just need to be doing more of those things that make me money. Guys, that's the opposite of what I feel is true. And I think that's well-intended advice, but I think it's advice that it's going to help you maximize money, but not maximize fulfillment in life. Okay. So I switched it and I said, okay, energy gives, energy drains. And I'll show the worksheet now. And I started to write down all the things in my life, and not just in work. I started to write down all my things in life that gave me energy. And especially, Brian, the things that you aren't currently doing right now. Okay. And that was the gap in that other exercise, the money exercise. So I would sit here and write like, I'd write in, well, working out. Working out gives me energy, but I wasn't really doing it because I didn't have any time. So I was doing all this other crap to make money. And then I'd write the next thing, strategy. Like I absolutely love strategy. I want to come in and go to the whiteboard, blow a strategy on there, and I want to leave. Like I don't want to execute the strategy. So over here on this is execution of anything, like literally execution of anything drains my energy. And unless it's this kind of a thing. I love coaching, gives me energy, but I wasn't doing any of it because the stuff that was making me money was this stuff over here. Marketing copy. I was writing email copy. I was writing marketing copy. I was setting up marketing systems. So systems are needed. I don't want to set them up though, but I was doing all that stuff. And over here, working out, strategy, time with kids. I love that, but I'd get home and I'd be completely burnt out by the time I got home, and I left the crumbs for my family, right? And so I ended up making this big old list here. Podcasts, dude, like loved podcasts. But I wasn't getting on any podcasts hardly. I was on a couple of them. Like I said, I just want to do more of this stuff. If I could do podcasts all day, I would. Right. And so I did this. And then I said, okay, I've got my list. Now what do I do with it? And what the common wisdom is, what's not measured can't be moved. Right. And a lot of us might make a list like this. We might say, okay, cool. I now recognize the things that give me energy. I now recognize the things that bring me my energy. But I said, I've got to measure this. If I'm gonna move it, I've got to measure it. So I want you guys then to create your list, grab the worksheet, carrot.com/energy, carrot.com/energy, get the energy audit worksheet. It's free. You don't even have to opt in. Don't have to put in your email and nothing. Carrot.com/energy, get the worksheet. I do this every single quarter now because what happens is you start to adopt energy draining activities just naturally. Okay. You pick up this one thing again, you pick up this one thing. And if we're not continually paring down and cutting out those energy draining activities and trading back up for energy give, you're going to eventually get in that burnout mode again. And so down here at this time, it was 20% energy given and 80% energy draining at that time. It was just kind of a finger in the air. Hey, what percentage of my average week is spent doing these things? I'm like, man, no wonder I'm resenting my business. No wonder I don't want to get up and do the work anymore. And I said, well, if I could get my energy give to over 50%, my assumption is I'll probably enjoy my work more often than not. But what if I could get my work to be 70% or more energy give? And that was my target. I set, Brian. I said, over the next couple of years, I'm going to get it from 20% energy giving to 70% energy giving. And every quarter, what I would do at that point is you'd go through this list and you'd say, okay, what's draining my energy the most right now? And then you would circle, let's say, your top 2 that are draining your energy the most. Okay. And then next to those, write down how many hours a week on an average week you're spending doing that thing. And so let's say that, whatever it is for you, it could be, it could be taking calls with sellers, or it doesn't matter, whatever it is. Like, what is it's draining your energy? And let's say for item number 1, it was 10 hours a week. Let's say for item number 2, it's 5 hours a week. Okay. So for those two, that's 15 hours a week in total that right now I'm spending on energy draining activities, but I need to do them. Like the business has to do these things. And this, Brian, is where I had a mental trip up as I was going, the business relies on those activities and I'm good at blog posts are part of what drives Carrot's business. We rank really well on Google for a lot of things. And I used to write all of them, but it drained the crap out of my energy. I was really, really good at it. It drained me. I did not like doing it. I liked it when it was done, but I felt more drained after I was done doing it. What I loved about blog posts, Brian, was the strategy. I'm like, I want to strategize the keywords. I want to like strategize the layout of it. And so I go, what if I could do more strategy, but not doing any of the execution of that thing? I just need to create a process for how I do blog posts and then go find someone who can write it for me. And I can do the strategy. And now I'm going to take this whole 10 hours is going to be gone. All that writing is going to be someone else's bucket now. Okay. And then item number 2, same thing. You take the item number 2, is this a person or a process? Or do you just say no to it? And so for each of those things you're going to look at, and your very first priorities that quarter now are to delegate or outsource or say no to those things. Your very first projects over and above everything else. Everything else is to say, I'm going to create a process for that, and I'm going to delegate it. And that's priority number 1. And then if I regain that 10 to 15 hours a week, then I go over here to the energy give side and I say, awesome. What do I want to start doing more of on the energy give side, even if it doesn't make me any money? Because it doesn't matter anymore. Because I just delegated out the stuff that made me money more and did the part that I like to do in that, right? And so I said, man, I want to do a podcast. I have no clue how it's going to make me money, but I want to do it. And so that's when I started a podcast in 2016 and started doing some other things earlier than that. And so you're just continually trading it up. And over time, this went from 20% energy gives to 70% energy gives. And I can tell you my income dramatically went up. My happiness went up. My team also grew because I recognized that I had to buy back my time is what I was looking to do, buying back my time with process and people. Okay. So guys, I can guarantee you that if you guys do this and stop thinking about only what's going to make me money and start thinking about what's going to give you energy, you're going to have a much more fulfilling life. You're going to have a much more energetic day. You're going to be more excited about your business. You're going to stop being on the 2 to 3 year turn and burn cycle because you bought yourself at that point a job that you despise because it's doing things that drain your energy, and you're a startup person and you need to get back into creative mode with the things that give you energy. And so innovate in your existing business where possible, or sell your company or find someone who wants to run it, but innovate in your existing business by trading out the things that drain your energy and trading up for things that give you energy. I can guarantee your income is going to go up, your fulfillment, your happiness, and your time that you're going to have to do things you enjoy is going to go way up too.
Yeah, Trevor, that's pretty interesting stuff there. And then you figure too, like the stuff that drains your energy could be something that gives someone else energy.
Dude, 100%. And that's the surprising thing. It's funny, Brian. So Jen, my assistant, who you've had a chance to meet out here at Carrot Camp, I hired her, man, a decade ago now, which is crazy, way before Carrot. And this is such a good learning lesson for me, Brian, because when I hired her, I had in my mind the things that I liked. I like marketing, I like strategy, I like certain other things. And so I remember when I was interviewing her, I'm like, hey, and here's all these things I need you to do, all these random things that in my mind was crap work. Like that's literally, those were the words I thought, this is crap work. I just need someone to do it for me, right? Emails, calendaring, open up the mail, clean up the place in the office, like just a bunch of stuff. And I thought there's no way someone likes that stuff. And so I'm going to cast this vision for her that she can do marketing stuff eventually and all this exciting stuff. And she was nodding like, yeah. So throughout that year, I remember, Brian, I'm like, man, I don't feel like I'm sending her as many things I need done because I didn't want to have her have to do what I consider crap work.
Right.
Like, oh man, Jen, I need my garage and my house cleaned. Like literally that kind of stuff. Like, oh, I'm not going to have her do that. Or Jen, I need my oil changed. Or, Jen, I need this, I need that. And so I wouldn't send it to her. And at the end of the year, we were doing our review. And I said, man, it feels like we made some good momentum, but it feels like there's still a lot of things I'm doing that I need someone to help with. And I said, would you like to do these things? Like organize my office. She goes, oh my gosh, that's the stuff I love the most. I go, oh, amazing. And she said, and then she said, I really didn't even want to do any of the marketing stuff. Like, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just like the other stuff. I'm like, wow, I wish I would have had this conversation a year ago. So you love all the stuff I don't like. And I can send it all to you. And you're actually joyful that you get to take all the random stuff that I had considered crap work. And then I changed my vernacular around that, Brian. I don't call it crap work anymore because it's not. It's important work. So I can focus on the stuff that's energy giving for me. and I can give her energy giving work on her side, which is not crap. It's the exact stuff she wants to do. It's high value for me. It's high value for her. Dude, it was a big, big mindset shift.
Yeah, that's huge. And I know we've talked about this before too, about like finding that right person.
Yep.
You know, like you just got to find the right people there, because you did a pretty good job building a team out there.
It's hard. It's hard, but the energy audit, that's where I would start, guys. Like if you are looking to build your team, don't look this is going to sound completely weird and opposite. Okay. But don't start hiring your team based on trying to grow a revenue number with that person. I know it sounds really weird. Hire at the start to buy back your time. Okay. You buy back your time. That's what you focus on your hires are. And you do that with the energy audit, because in 0 to 1 million, that's what it's about. It's taking the things that you are good at, or taking the things that you've been doing, creating processes, delegating out. Now from 3 to 10 million, if any of you are watching this, from 3 to 10 million, at that point, you need to hire some of those leaders and some of those people who are coming in with the skill set that are specifically going to come in and scale something up. But 0 to 1, dude, it's all hiring to buy back your time pretty much at that point. 1 to 3 may be a little bit different, but yeah, guys, buy back your time. That's what your hires are going to do.
Yeah, guys, you can even say that again. That's huge.
Yeah.
Like, buy that time back if you possibly can. Your mental being will be way better. You'll accomplish way more.
Big time. Big time.
Hey, well, thanks for coming, Trevor. Hey, tell everybody how they can reach out to you, how they can find you, all that good stuff.
No, for sure, Brian. So guys, follow me on Instagram, trevor.mauch. That's MAUCH. Or follow us on the Carrot Cast. Brian and Chad have been on there a couple of times. The Carrot Cast is our podcast. You can just find it in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or just look up carrotcast.com. So, dude, I appreciate you bringing me on, because I don't know if you can tell, but this gives me energy. So when we started doing our podcast, I literally looked at it and said, if I never get a listener from this, I don't really care as much, because I get energy by doing the work. The work is the reward, not the thing on the other end. The work of doing this right here, Brian, even if no one saw this right here is the reward for me. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do it.
That's good stuff, man. Hey, thanks for coming. And hey, everyone who's listening, check out the other 2 episodes if you haven't, and go out there and crush it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.